thing about God is that God is beautiful, really. So my 3rd month in MMI, it became easy. It became easier to get, like, I began to enjoy it. I began to, okay, it's not that bad. I started to enjoy, but I wasn't seeing a lot about it online or anywhere. I began to enjoy. I was just grateful that in that period, I took time to be with myself and to be with God. I didn't bring too many people into because I'm bringing you guys into this process now because I've matured. I've grown. Like it's been 3 years. I'm not in 2021. I was a baby in this education thing. Now I believe that I eat bone, hard meat. So yes, that's how I found myself in education. That's how I went to learn about early childhood, which I now absolutely enjoy. I still struggle on some days, but that's like how I got into education.
I'm glad we finally got into that story, right? It's been 3 years now on that journey, and to be honest, like I feel like it's one of the best decisions and best milestones of life so far. Like, to be honest, in that same period I was also going through mine, right, which of course not now, but like probably share, but like which is one of the reasons why as soon as you were saying it, I was okay, if that's what God wants, then let's go. Because
I feel like you can never explain what it truly felt like.
No, you can't entirely explain the emotions, the
doubts,
disappointment,
the fear,
the uncertainty.
I should actually mention this. I remember one time in that period, I became scared. Like, I don't know why. I started dealing with this fear. I wouldn't be able to sleep. When I wake up, I'm afraid. When I'm doing anything, I'm afraid. So I told Andy, this man, I love this man. So I told him that I think I'm dealing with like a fear. Like, I don't know. It was like, which type of fear is that? Like, okay, I'll come and see you like sometimes. So he came maybe like 2 weeks after that time. And it was still happening to me. I was still I'll be fearful. Just lay his hands on my head. Lay the hands. Command the spirit of fear, get out of her right now. I'm not kidding, people of God. That was the last deal. But then, what led to that particular like tangible fear was the doubts. Like, I just sort of talked about it like, oh, it was easy. I just
This is
I cried a lot. Months, so because it was between May 2021 till I think that I started getting.
It was close to the end of 2022, right?
2022, like 2022. I then, it then sort of started settling because 2022, I was still in school. Then I started to teach, and then when I started to teach, that fear now came back, but it was not as much as that time because now I was not dealing with real children. I started asking myself questions: did I really hear God? Because it's different when you're like in a real classroom and you truly don't have passion for this thing that you're doing. It's not as though I see children and I'm all mushy. I've always been afraid of even having my own children. Like, I think I said at the beginning of this podcast, like I'm that person that, I'm like, do I have to give birth? Because I truly don't care naturally for children. So now I had to force myself, like, it became a conscious thing. I started to confess it that I love children. I love then when I see funny thing, I'm part of those grown-ups that children love. In the school where I was teaching, Mishade this, Mishade that, their parents will be asking, who is this Mishade? But the Mishade that at home, Skabashi, let me love these children, God. Open the portal of love in my heart.
The children were the ones even flooding.
They were always loving up, calling me. I remember when I left that particular school, one of the parents were invited to leave. All of that drama, but that's like how I found myself here.
Great. I want us to now go away from like how you go into education at all.
Yeah.
To the conversation now with
very cool.
How did you start on? So I mean, early childhood education.
Yeah.
Right. it started from you take care of other people's children, then early childhood education. So why parenting then? Like
so
what's
yeah,
drew you
true.
into that?
Okay, thank you very much for that question,
See, I was
AJ.
doing my job.
So
See, it's me, I'm drawing all these things for you people.
see this man. So in 2022, I started to teach in a real school, and this fateful day. So early childhood means I work with children between the ages of 1 and 5. So I was working in a nursery school, in a nursery class, pardon me. And my kids were between 3 and 4 year olds. And at the beginning of the term, we already prepped their parents. So we're going to be having a science day competition, and we're going to prep the children for 9 weeks so that when they come and present, they do it because they are 3 year olds, they are small, they do it perfectly. So we're always prepping these kids. They're going to do some experiments and all of that. On that day, we bought lab coats. Everybody looked really nice. And, we started the presentation. It was going perfectly fine. It was fine. The children were already doing it, pouring their, I think, pepper into water to separate the water. So I can't remember the details of the experiment, but it was going really, really well. All of a sudden, and I was the assistant teacher in the class, so I was busy monitoring the children. So I was backing a particular child or some children. I just heard this very loud cry. So one of the babies, she screamed from her soul. In my own wail. This girl wailed that wail. She just screamed. Turned and what happened? She was the next thing just, I want my mommy. I just realized, it's true. My mom, because there were some parents, like a few parents were in class, and those parents were moms. I want my mommy. So we're trying to pacify her. She's going to come, we're going to come. The other children that did not want their mommy or their daddies initially realized that, that's true. My mom is not here. My dad is not here. And started to want their mommy and daddy. And then the class became chaotic. Because we're 3 teachers trying to calm every 19 children, carry them, pet them. Sorry, mommy's gonna come, dad's gonna come. And right there, I was just upset. I was just angry. It's just one day in a term we ask people to come. Just one day. I know that people are looking for daily bread. I know. But then it's just one day for 45 minutes. I mean, come on. If mommy cannot come, daddy should come. Somebody should be here. And it's true. And then it just took me back to when I was younger, to my parents. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, were living out of the country. So they used to miss anything like that. PTA meeting. They didn't used to come at all. Then, mommy, I love you guys, but I mean, they didn't used to come. And so I just could relate to how those children felt that day. It pained me because really, they were 3-year-olds, they're babies. It pained me a lot. I got upset. When I go home, I just, in my own anger, just wrote on Instagram I felt like I think parents need to do better. But of course, I sort of with FEZ started my own story, like my when I was younger. And boy, people reposted that post. I was getting comments and DMs. I'm like, oh, this thing is a thing. Like
everybody else can relate to it.
People started relating, oh, I felt that way. Parents, I'm like, oh, it's true. I'm not alone, and these babies are not alone. This is valid. People feel this way about. I mean, no offense to parents. I know that parenting can be a lot, but I mean, it was just be present. It's not every day. I mean, it was just one day in a term, and so I just now started to just share my own opinion and share, what's it called, and share experiences too. Then I started to now pay more attention in my class and okay, this parents, I think you can do better than this and all of that. So that's how I got into this whole parenting thing, and yes, that's how I got into parenting.
I mean, excellent, because which we will get into now, and I feel like it's easy for anyone to want to have discarded that. Oh, a child cried, 2 children cried, then 5 children cried, and then you just throw that all of that away, and at the end of your day, and it doesn't resonate anything with you.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like you, coming from a background where you weren't even having any interest in children or education in that sense, right? taking note of this thing, having it to be able to relate it to how you also had felt at some point in your life, right? And seeing the flaws and the inadequacies that parenting can come with, right? I think that is something to take note of, like that moment, being able to observe that particular thing as a problem. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then choose to talk about it, and then choose to keep talking about it. Then you realize that there are many more people going through it.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next thing that we're going to discuss, because I know that for a larger number of people listening, you'll probably be like, parents is going through, right?
Share.
I am trying to figure out life for this kid. I probably spend like a lot of money to even get the child in school, right? Our parents is probably having his own bad boss issue at work and all of those things, right? And so I know that with that, a lot of things that you then started sharing was now in the line of advice, things to do.
Yeah.
Then the concept of intentional parenting. So, can you walk us through that into then developing the idea of the play cards that we worked on?
So I started to write about intentional parenting, give advice. It was going well, although at some point I stopped because I got really busy also with normal work and all of that, but it was always in my heart. But I'm going to share a lot of things about God, because I can't take the glory for what is not my glory. I'll be lying. So I'm not apologizing for that. I'm just giving a disclaimer. So 2022 came. I was already doing a lot of parenting talks, because this parenting talks started in 2022. Yeah. So by May 2022, my pastor, Pastor Shola Kodwa, picked us to join a prayer time, like a retreat. So it was called Kevadulam. And he used to, I remember the very first message was about fatherhood of priesthood. And that message, the Holy Spirit was showing me how that message was about me and mom. That's, the Holy Spirit was showing me and the image he had given me for what I was doing in education. So it was an encounter for me. And one of the days when we're praying in Kevadulam, the idea came. Where I journal a lot, so that was already towards the end of 2022. I just wrote it down in my book, an app for parents to connect and talk, finish, and I forgot about it. Didn't remember it, left it in the journal and forgot. Fast forward 2023, I was looking for a job in January of 2023, and so I used to spend time praying a lot. So one of the days when I was praying, I was done praying. I was just journaling again, and right there, God started to give me the idea of what we now have as parent call,
which at the time Pastor Shola used to call templates.
Yes, and so thank you for reminding me, my husband. So before 2023
PS, shout out to PS.
Before 2023 January 2022, PS had seen me like 3 different times at 3 different months. Just prayed with me. So after church, please pray for me. I said, oh, God is going to give you template. That was a prayer. Yeah, you prayed that prayer for me 3 different times. God is going to give you template. There was a day we did this 6 hours prayer, and and when we're done in that prayer, I was praying for everybody. When it was my turn, it just said God was giving me templates. So 3 different times, and then in Kevadulam, I'm going to give me that, but I forgot. Then 23 January, I was praying again. This time alone. When I was done praying, I was journaling, and then it just started to flow. And then this time I was already Mrs. O's mentorship. There was a lot of spiritual deposits going on in my life at that time, really. So I'm not saying you should go and bully your pastors to put you in mentorship, but then I was just graced an opportunity of being in Kairos at that time where my pastors were doing mentorships, and God, one way, I don't know how, because I was a new member of the new, I just joined. God found a way to put me in those places, and those things were the things that bettered me being able to pray long hours. Because it was after I prayed that particular long hour was 23rd of January because I wrote in my journal. 23rd of January 2023, 23, 1, 23. That, I started to write, and God gave me Parent Co's download. I did not think about Parent Co, just came. The app is going to have, in fact, it was divided into pre-parents, pregnant parents, or the way Parent Co is structured today is the way God gave me. Downloaded it. But then 2023 was the year where I was doing my postgraduate for education. I was planning to get married. So I didn't have money to build an app or dabble into that. But when something about me is when God gives me a word, I like to run with it like immediately, like the way it's blown like that, the way it's hot. I like to. So I told my husband then like this idea that God gave me, I think I should do something about it. It was like I'm doing a lot of things right now. Like you can't do a lot. You want to. You just got it. Then God now gave me a job in one of the best schools in Nigeria. So I was working full time. I was planning to get married. I was schooling. You can't do a business. You can't just that one. We'll do it later. But around, I think June, because in all of those times I started talking about intentional parenting. I was doing a lot of things. Like I could not be here. I started to feel that uneasiness about the idea. I'm like, if I do something about this thing this year, I'm not going to be happy. I have to do something about it this year. And then we discussed again. Now this was like a month to our wedding. So Emily was like, when we are done getting married, let's revisit this matter. So when we're done getting married, we then talked about it. What are we going to do? It was then like, okay, what do you want? So what is the smallest thing we can break it into? I'm like, conversation. I was like, okay, conversations. I'm like, conversation around parents. I'm like, so how can we, one way or another, we talked, deliberated, came back, and they were like, let's make it into a game for parents. I'm like, because parenting is the concept of parenting, something that we don't get to talk about. You just get married and nobody talks to you about parenting. We got married and nobody really talked about parenting to us.
Not that we did pre-marriage counseling. Nobody really does post-marriage counseling. Nobody really does pre-parenting counseling. Nobody really does parenting counseling. You just get married and everyone else has to figure it out. To be
fair, because nobody did it for the people that are doing it
as well.
So like it's something that is just a norm. And so it's not as though it's anybody's duty to really do those things. But that's why Parent Co is here now. That's why God called me to do this thing. So let's just say now it has come. So we then talked about it, broke it down. Like, okay, work on the questions. Initially, the rough design and the rough questions of Parent Co, I did it myself on Canva, but then my husband helped me to polish it up later on. But the way it was born in my heart, I'm like, this thing I must do it. It was one night, just said, Shadi, get up and go and do it. So I first sat down, got questions ready. I was like, okay, just check Canva for like a card design, like a joke. I just started to design it, write the questions, and by the end of July, August, by the end of September, we already had the cards like ready to get printed. I started talking about it on social media again, like coming back, my intentional parenting drama. And October 12th, we launched the parenting play cards. So that's like the journey of the parenting play cards.
That's so good. And I think that we had a very good response.
Right? For the parenting play cards, it was big. Shout out to what was her name? Tosin bought 15 cards. I was shocked. The responses, and everybody that bought one card, thank you. Everybody that bought 2 cards, like you guys don't know what your responses did. The DMs I got, the feedback. Oh, my husband and I didn't even think about it before. He opened, although my junior members are sort of cajole them to buy it. But then, after they were like, oh, Shadi, this thing is so good. And, so like that also helped me to, sort of be proud and want to like push me to like do it more.
So it was like an extra validation to the problem that we're trying to solve.
So because
and then also
most of the people that also bought the cards were not yet married. Exactly. That was like the good part for me. So most of them saying, oh, I relate with this thing, like I'm about to get married and I relate with this thing so much, it did a lot of things to me. Like this is something that should be talked about. Like, we date, we learn how to drive a car, we learn how to be who we are, and But we don't learn how to do one of the most important things in life, which is to be parents, because parenting is you're raising somebody that their life depends solely on you. On you and on God, of course, but primarily, yeah, their physical everything. And if you've not dealt with some traumas, some things,
you're just going to pass it
a lot of things just be passed on. You just parent the not too great way. So we're not saying that, and I always say this thing, I'm not saying that I have the perfect answer to parenting. I just have a better way to tell you to do it. Like, discuss with your partner. Just don't leave everything to chance. Discuss the tiniest details. Like, we have one of these very fun questions. Do you have like a child gender bias? I do. Me, I want female children. I want a girl first. My husband then said, okay, so you don't give us a girl first. What will happen? If you give us a boy, we throw a child away. But you notice that some people, because they want a boy, they will have female children, they will not now love or be able to love that child. So these are the things that we just roll over and think they're not important, but they are truly, truly, truly important.
Very. So we did that. So we sold out everything, I think, in 6 weeks. It was a very, very good thing to see. And of course, we could have decided to go and make more, but we definitely thought about, how do we make it even better? And since we've seen that validation as well, what's the next thing? So of course, we had to travel, right? So we left Nigeria and then we're back. We're here in the UK, and then we were to revisit the conversation again, right? So can you tell?
I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, because so, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ayomide Ajayi. I'm the co-founder and COO of Parent Co. What's your name? And your title?
My name set up. My name is Folashade Ajayi, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Parent Co.
Thank you. So she's the CEO. So she's the one that should do the most of the talking.
Right.
All right.
So we got abroad, and we started to try to settle down. What's next? Why are we here? That's a discussion for another day. In all of I don't say all of those details. In all of the moving up and down, we just sort of found ourselves back to education, and we wanted to go a different light. That was not Parent Co, but it didn't work out the way we wanted it. It didn't work out. And while we were, trying to go that light, was when I saw that, I was reading like a lot of articles and a lot of journals, and I saw there that people want to invest in anything that is tech driven. You get? I'm like, I'm sitting down on a pot of innovation, because God gave me this idea.
And it was tech inclined.
And it's tech inclined. Like, the idea was, Renko from the start had always been an app, something to connect parents. And I told my husband, like, remember that this idea that God gave me in 2023? He was like, oh yeah, I remember it. I'm like, why can't we already begin to run with it? I mean, I have enough time on my hands to do that. And of course, the ever supportive IMD was like, oh sure, start making a research. He spoke to his friends that started, that already had startups, and gave advice here, give advice there, and sorry about that noise. Give advice here, give advice there, and we started. Parent Co started as a not too sure. In March of this year, we're like, okay, let's just try.
Yeah.
And so we, at the end of March, we hired our first staff, which is Tolu. Shout out to Tolu as our designer.
Yeah.
And and we're in July, and Parent Co is going to be launching very soon.
Yeah.
So that's how we are now here with the news of Parent Co.
Yeah. So like she explained earlier, which I think maybe you might still want to do again.
Okay.
One of the key things that we found out is that when we highlight these problems and these issues, there's many more people going through the same stuff.
Yes.
There is not just many more people. They are young like us, right? There are Gen Zs and millennials. Everyone that is getting married, in this.
Or even having children for their very first time,
exactly.
Because what I wanted to do initially was to start like a child minding business that's basically taking care of children at home. And one common problem that all the parents I spoke with in between January and February was that just confused. They were just lonely. They just felt like their family members were so far away. They didn't have people to talk to. They didn't have community. I mean, I'm a first-time mom. I've never been a mom. I just need first-time mom friends. Do you get? And even for us, like when one of us came to Birmingham, to the UK, I told my husband one day, like, God, I need friends that are married. All of my friends are not married. You can I love you guys. But sometimes I just want to just rant about something.
Yeah.
And it's also my husband. So somebody that can relate the way the fire is burning at that very time.
Yeah.
So I just want to just rant and I just somebody that is feeling the fire, I'm feeling it, sort of thing. So, all of these things validated the idea that God had given, which is prayer and call. Like, a community that young people that are just getting married, and people that are just having babies, that are just pregnant, not even pregnant, that they have, like, they want to talk to other people. They don't want to just go on Google and just Google why my legs swollen this morning. They want to act like a real mom or a real dad. And another thing that Parenco, is bringing at this beautiful and exciting for me is that we've designed Parenco to include the entire family, like both couple. So Parenco is not, because eventually we found out that there are similar apps you get, but all of them focus on women, and that is a problem for me, especially being a teacher. Most times I'm in school, moms are always ones that are always involved. Dads, I'm sorry, but we just need more men being involved in their children's day to day.
I think that the truth is that with our generation, I really think that the guys, the men, want to actually be involved in their children.
Yeah, so Parenco is going to so one of the things that Parenco is bringing is we're going to be having like conversations in different communities, but we call it circles on Parenco, where you can talk to other moms. My husband here can meet with a new husband like him and say, oh, how are you guys husbanding this husband? or a pregnant mom is like, I don't know how my body's doing me this morning. Do you guys have like but it's not just on secluded circles. There are family circles. So family circles is basically that my husband and I are on newlyweds circle. And other newlyweds are equally there. So all the conversation that's going is not just going on for only the moms or for only the dads. All of us can learn, because we believe that we learn from each other's experiences. Of course, we might not all have like the exact same experiences, but it's never too late to learn.
It's not even distant in that sense.
You get so.
And one of the amazing things about Parenco is that it's very, very personalized, right? So as soon as you're getting onboarded from like the onboarding phase, and it will keep going like progressively, right? So you try to find out your stage in your journey. Are you a pre-parent? Are you a pregnant parent? Are you an already parent? If you're an already parent or a pregnant parent, are you single? Because we know there could be single
parents out there.
So we have like all of those things catered for, and then you get to be able to find circles that are tailored to that your stage of your journey. So that means you're finding people who have like maybe single parents who are trying to figure out, handling school runs or handling assignments for their kids alongside work. The context there is slightly different from a general parent, like a couple parent handling school runs and assignments for their kids, right? And on and on. We also it's also AI infused, so basically you're getting to see content that is, like I said, tailored, but also more importantly, you're able to use tools that inform you with like the right resources, with the right like things to sort of like cater to any your chore, managing, parenting, life.
Sorry about that.
So like the AI is able to help you to like manage like your parenting life, your chores, and then connect it to your normal productivity tools like your calendars, your alarm, and all of those things. And so we're currently at the MVP stage, and it's for now it's still private beta, which means that we want you to join the wait list so you can help us test out the product, test out what we have,
Because
give
parenthood is
us.
not perfect
No,
just yet.
it's not perfect yet. So give us some feedback. Let us know what we are not doing yet and what we need to do and what we need to do better.
Better.
Right now it's also still a browser version, right? So which means that you need to, visit our websites, log in via your browser basically. It's mobile optimized, so you don't have to worry about that. It looks great actually. So you also do not have to worry about that. But we really want to be hitting the nail on the head in terms of the problems that we're solving, in terms of understanding the journey of different kinds of parents, right, and their needs, before we go ahead to develop a full fleshed out product. So right now what we have is the social network and the community side of things, right? And we're launching on the 24th of August. And one of the things that we didn't mention that Parentco is I mean, there's a lot of things in the pipeline beyond the mobile app. We're having frequent or periodic parenting meetups across different locations. And we're starting the very first one is also going to be our launch event. It's happening in Birmingham on the 24th of August. So if you're a pre-parent, if you would soon be a parent, if you're a newly married couple, if you are
not even sorry to cut you, not if you soon, if you just want to just learn or just open parenting. Your mind to the idea of parenting.
Yeah, exactly. If you're pregnant or if you're already a parent, and you live in Birmingham, you can join. We'll definitely put out the link to register and all of those things. We'll also make it available for people who will be joining virtually. So if you cannot come physically, but if you come physically, you get to enjoy like stuff from us. So we're planning to make it very fun. We have like freebies and whatever things that we can get our hands on to give to you. And so like the very first part is like that is the parenting meetup, the social network, the AI powered tool. As we go on, we're going to be having like other things coming up, from parenting hubs to other things that I don't want to share now. So like it's basically like we call it's an ecosystem. It's for modern parenting, it's for young people, and we really want the community side of things. So the product is going to be driven by community. So you are really a big part of it, and we are also a big part of it. So we're not like defining the product and saying we're the alpha and omega. No, we're going to be like working with everyone that comes on the platform. So please, make sure to join our beta list, and let's build the future together.
Oh, that line is sweet. Let's build the future together. The future of parenting. I think that everyone is just like really important to be very intentional when it comes to the moment you get married or you're in a relationship. It's just important to already put parenting in perspective. Nobody's a perfect parent. Like, even though we are the founders of Parentco, we don't have it figured out ourselves. I was telling my husband just yesterday, like, we've not played the card game in a while. Like, we should get back to it, because you never can tell. But then it's just important, and we are counting on you guys for your support. Support in terms of trying out the product. Like, if you know that you're gonna be interested, I'm sure that by the time this video is out, we would already have the link that you can register.
Right now, you can visit www.parentco.co and you'll be able to join our beta. And just also, like, you'll be able to see more information on the website itself, and be a part of this. Yeah,
we're excited to onboard you guys. We're excited, all of us, to build Parentco, to build the future.
And the waitlist is growing.
It's growing.
It's growing actually.
So thank you guys for joining us. I feel like I talked a lot. I feel exhausted.
But like, it was good, right?
Yes, it was good.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, see you guys on another episode of Cool Kids Circle.
Yeah. Ciao. Bye.